King Shivaji, the last constructive genius. King Shivaji's forts talks of his Swarajya vision more than the history books. He had left behind him a splendid legacy, not as an unequal conqueror, but as the creator and the constructive genius among the Hindustani kings. King Shivaji's era certainly is the most notable landmark in the military architectural history of the world. King Shivaji was the chief architect and the builder of an epoch in our history. The plans and designs of 180 new forts he had built in his life were dictated solely by the considerations of defensive strength. Here is the glimpse of couple of Maharashtra's fascinating forts, recalling the story of great Hiroji Indulkar. Hiroji, a true statesman serving in the rule of King Shivaji, was an engineer and an architect par excellence. During the second half of 17th century, Siddhis of Iran and Iraq, the invaders, were frequenting Konkan part of Hindustan for loot and molestation of women. King Shivaji, in order to check their activities, asked Hiroji to build a formidable marine fort. Later, it became known as Sindhu Durg. The construction of Sindhu Durg involved the mobilization of huge supplies of material, manpower, and money apart from the professional talent. It was a logistics challenge for any engineer. The volume and weight of hard stone, including 200 khandis of lead and iron, for erecting a massive curtain wall of Sindhu Durg, almost 2 miles long, about 30 feet high, and 12 feet thick, was enormous. Initially, to collect so much material at the shore and then to carry it to the island side at a nautical distance of more than a mile, across the reef intercepted rough sea with merged medieval means of naval transport was nothing less than a miracle. It is recorded in the history that Sindhudurg absorbed a working force of 3,000 men round the clock for 3 years. The genius in King Shivaji is found in these details. Engineer Hiroji took that challenge. King Shivaji gave due instructions and made the arrangement and went on for long expedition. Short of funds, the narrative is Hiroji had to mortgage his own belongings and raise the funds, but he completed the construction of Sindhudurg. It was the year of 1667. On return, Shivaji was immensely happy to see the antiquarian architectural splendor in the shape of and form of Sindhudurg. What prize and reward I offer to you, dear Hiroji? Asked King Shivaji. Radhe, no prize. I am in your service forever, Hiroji said. A national character and a supreme patriot that he was, said further, Radhe, please grant me the next assignment of building the Raigad fort, the future capital of Swarajya. Though Swarajya was founded on firm footing from Rajgarh, its narrow summit plateau proved too small to contain a royal capital. King Shivaji was a fort dweller by choice. He was born at Fort Shivneri and breathed his last at Fort Raigad. King Shivaji was endowed with an uncommonly keen perception in assessing the strategic importance of the place. Rairi Hill was a huge, irregular, wedge-shaped mass of rock cut from the main body of Sahyadris by a deep valley carved by a river about a mile broad at the base and 2 miles wide across from crest to crest. Raigad has 3 main points: Hirkani in the west, Takmak in the north, and Bhavani in the east, and one smaller Srigonda point to the southeast. On 3 sides, west, south, and east, the hill slopes were inaccessible and hence were not needed any fortification. Accordingly, the contract of building Raigad was assigned to Hiroji. A fine military engineer such as Hiroji must have been delighted to accept this challenge. Jagdishwar Temple, Rani Vasa, dwelling units of twins, Bazar, Hatti Talao, Mahadarwaja, all that were put on the layout plan by Shivaji, by King Shivaji himself. And the go ahead was given. Raigad was completed in 2.5 years. It was the early period of the 1674 when it was again renovated. Though every care to ensure that the fortification fulfilled the most exacting defense requirements was taken, King Shivaji applied several severe tests to assess the impregnability of its construction. Chroniclers have narrated interesting anecdotes as to how King Shivaji issued proclamations and offered prizes of gold bracelets to anyone who could scale Raigad by unconventional means. Such routes thus discovered were promptly sealed off with appropriate walls and bastions. Chor Darwaja was once a discovery that got sealed. Yet, one single daredevil incident showed that Raigad was not that all proof. It's a wondrous story. Hirkani, a milkmaid, exposed the weakness in the fortification by scrambling down a precipice to reach her hungry child and home at the foot of the fort after the gates were closed for the night. King Shivaji heard of the daring feat of Hirkani. He rewarded her and asked Hiroji to block the loophole by erecting a bastion. Hiroji confessed, Radhe, I thought now only air can come up and only water can find its way downward from the newly built Raigad. But a lion-hearted mother like Hirkani has shown that she too can find her way downwards. Blessed were those, Hirkani and Hiroji, who made our forts unconquerable. On 6th June 1674, the day of King Shivaji's coronation, Hiroji was felicitated and appropriately awarded. On the occasion, Hiroji wished to have a seva step at Jagdishwar temple. Without any hesitation, King Shivaji granted him what he wished. Visit that Jagdishwar temple of Raigad, you will find a beautiful inscription on the seva step, meaning, in your service, Hiroji. Your patience of listening to this incredible episode only reconfirms that King Shivaji was a true genius.